In this video, we'll explore how to use pivot tables for data analysis. A pivot table is a very powerful tool. You can use it to calculate, summarize, and analyze data. One of the key strengths that I find in using pivot tables is its ability to show you comparison between various data points or timeframes, and also the ability to show patterns and trends in your data that otherwise would have been very difficult if you were looking at a whole lot of data. So pivot tables power is in how it summarizes your data pretty quickly and neatly, allows you to get insights by just looking into the summarized data without doing a lot of calculations and the likes. So let's get to it. So this data here is educational data. So we offer programs, MBAs, and various certificates, and here's the lookup table that summarizes it. And each of those, the AOV is average order value, and what I want to see is what's been happening with our average order value for the time frame that we've been operating. Has anything changed? Are we offering scholarships and discounts and all those kind of things? There are some programs that are having success in offering higher order value compared to when we started. So right now I have a whole lot of data here. How do I tell what is what? It's very difficult, right? So I'm going to use pivot tables to show me what my data looks like. So first thing I do is I just click inside the data here, anywhere will do, and then you go to insert and you click here, pivot table. So the first thing you see is it just by default selects all your data. So you want to check if it's covered all your data. On average, it does, unless if there is space in between. And one of the things that will make a pivot table not work is if you have a gap between, let's say, these programs, like row, an empty row on top here would actually break everything. So you have to make sure that your headers are at the top rows and cells over there. So then the next thing we need to do is we need to tell this pop-up here where we want to drop our pivot table. By default, it picks a new worksheet. I do not want to put it into a new worksheet. I want to have it in the same worksheet. So I will click over here. There's enough space, and then I'll tell it where to put it. I'll click over here. That's where I wanted to drop it. And then I'll click OK. So this is bare bones what you'll see when you start building a pivot table. Right now we don't have anything built, so it will pop up these fields here, and you have the ability to literally just drag stuff and drop them, and then it will show you how it looks. So it's always important to think of how you want your data to look. In my own case with this data, I want to have the programs in the first in the rows. Like when I look at the rows, I want to have programs, and then when I look at the columns, I want to have the dates, so that I'll be looking at, for example, MBA and what's been the average order value of MBA through the time frame, kind of. So I'll show you what I mean. I'll just drag this and drop it here. Another way of doing the same thing is I'll remove that. I just come over here and just click it. So it adds it over here. You see how it's building it. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to drag the year here. I want to have this in my columns, right? So now you see it has, this is my programs, and this here, the dates. But right now it's combining it 2022, 2023, and it's collapsing it. So if I expand this, you'd see what it's doing for me is it's summarizing at the quarterly level. So sometimes it's important to see all of the data, especially at that quarterly level. So I'll expand this. It's doing the magic for me. I don't have to do a whole lot. So what's the next thing now? I want to drag the average order value, or I can just click it, but I prefer to drag it, drop it there. Now we have something here. So I will just go ahead and format this a little bit so that it looks cleaner. So one thing that you need to pay very good attention at is pivot table by default sums up things. So the default thing is a sum, right? What we want is an average to see the average price that's been charged for these programs over time. So what you do is right now, if you look here, it says sum of AOV. You don't want it to be sum, you want it to be average. So you have to come over here and click there. It shows you what you can really do. And what you can do here is click on the value field settings and just come over here. Here you have the ability to change what function it looks at. So right now it's sum. I want it average. See, you could do minimum, maximum, and all those things. You could do a whole lot, but we want it to be average, right? So we click that. So this is showing us the average order value for these products. So it's easy for you to see, you know, what the AOVs are. And if you don't need the quarterly data, you could literally just go over here and just remove it. But if you want to see the quarterly average, you can keep it. Let's say if you wanted to remove the quarterly, all you need to do is just go back here, click it out, or drag it out here, drag it back. So what you see now is this is showing me the average order value for this product for data analysis. So you can add some additional analysis to show the trends of your data analysis, but by just looking at it, you'll see that it's been trending a little bit downwards from where we started. We were almost at 10K, and here we ended the year at 9.6K. So that tells you something, right? The average is 9.875. So instead of having to do all the calculation, you've just built a pivot table that shows you the average order value for your products, and you could literally just look at the average order value. You could decide to say, I want the average order value for 2022, or what is the new average order value for 2023. You could see that where we end at December is kind of where we're going into January. So without doing much, you actually see what's happening with your order values, and you could decide to change your strategy in terms of pricing and decide to upsell some things or decide to offer discount for some things. But yeah, with just this pivot table, we have a very powerful report here that we could use to make informed decision making. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think.